Greetings, my fellow watch enthusiasts on Facebook and YouTube and wherever else this video is being shown and shared. It's Celine Driver again, back for another Watches for Life video. This would be number 8. And I'm doing right now another mini series, my State of the Collection video. This is number 2. This one I'm going to concentrate on one of the earliest brands that I started collecting way back. I've had all of these watches for at least 10 years now. This would be Doxa. This is a very old, over 135 years old company, I believe. They used to do primarily luxury and dress watches in the early days. In the 60s, they decided to get into the dive watch business, and they became, over a very short period of time, one of the best dive watch makers in the world. These are serious dive watches. Not to say that, say like a Seiko SKX or a Turtle or a Monster or even a Submariner or one of the other dive watches out there, hundreds of them, aren't serious in their own way, but I don't know of another dive watch that has one particular thing incorporated into it that all the others lack. I might not know of a couple of watches like that, but I've never seen a dive watch quite like these. Now, in my previous videos, I did another video on my Doxa collection, and that one actually had 15 watches in it. You may notice I'm down to 6 now. I've been doing some selling lately, and I will continue to sell off watches that get little or no wrist time. And in some cases, watches I frankly don't like anymore. That wasn't the case with the Doxas. They just weren't being worn. They were being wasted, and I sold them off to good homes, and people are enjoying them to this day. But these are the core 6. I'm not selling these. I'm not trading them. Don't ask. Now, Doxa is, they do different color schemes and occasionally different logo schemes. The color schemes identify the style of the watch. For example, all Doxa orange face watches are called their professional line. All Doxas with the blue face are Caribbeans. With the silver face are Sea Ramblers. With the black face are called Sharkhunters. The yellow face, which are somewhat harder to find, are... And then occasionally they'll do another color that are not the core 5, like this one. This is a Project Aware watch, and it is in a, as you can see, a gorgeous, I call it turquoise, light blue, whatever you want to call it. It is absolutely stunning. But let's take a look at them close up. First off, this is my professional. This one is a, let's see here, excuse me for a second. This is a sub T, sub 750T. The number corresponds with its depth rating. This was the first Doxa I ever bought. And the way I heard about Doxa originally was, I've been a big fan of a author of fiction. His name is Clive Cussler, and he's written 36 odd books. He started out with one main character. His name was Dirk Pitt. He's since created other book lines with different main characters, but Pitt was the first. And Dirk Pitt, who among his other manly traits, and there are many, always wore an orange-faced Doxa dive watch, because all his novels, no matter pretty much which lineup you go to, whether it's the Pitt series or the Austin series or the Oregon Files series or whatever, they pretty much all center around the oceans. And Dirk Pitt always wore an orange-faced Doxa. And I became intrigued with that for some reason as a kid, and then found out what Doxa was and was determined someday to own an orange-faced Doxa. And here it sits in my hand, in my possession. And I'm not selling it. I love everything about this watch. I love the beads of rice bracelet, which is incredibly smooth and incredible quality. I love the double lock clasp, which, you know, I know everybody has, but this one works really well. It's really tight. And even has the diver's extension somewhere. I think it's under here, but I've never been good at deploying it, but I think it's right there. Heavy duty screw down crown. Nice, heavy, thick case. Will definitely take the pressure. But here's the thing about the Doxa dive watches that I've never seen on another dive watch. You can see there's a rotating bezel, of course. That you've seen 1,000 times. But you notice there are two tracks. There's the inner track, which shows the minutes with a nice pip at the 60-minute mark. So you can see gives you those calculations. And I've never seen another dive bezel do that. This is a serious dive watch. For example, at 70 feet, you can stay down 50 minutes. At 80 feet, it's 40 minutes. At, what is that? That is 90 feet, you can stay under for 30 minutes before you have to worry about decompression, and so on and so on. If you don't want to carry a separate card strapped to your wrist or whatever, or you just need a quick reminder of what your bottom time is for a given depth and a given number of minutes, this bezel tells you. I've never seen that on another dive watch. This actually is one of my favorite, right now my favorite Doxa, the Caribbean. This is a 750T as well. It's also a GMT watch. There's a GMT hand right there. And you notice the inner bezel has the orange for day, black for night, and you can move it for the GMT with this upper crown. Also, of course, has the dive bezel. This one's a bit stiff, probably from lack of use. among other things. But you're not going to move this one accidentally. There we go. And you notice nice big hands, easily read. Minute hand is well loomed. Black on this one, but orange on the blue. Just love this blue. Just everything about this watch makes it my favorite Doxa. And not getting rid of that one. Now here's my Sea Rambler. This one, as you may notice, is a little smaller than the other ones. That's because this one is old. This one dates from roughly 1968. I picked this one up a while ago, quite a while ago. Didn't know much about it. All I knew was that it didn't have a quick set function. All the other watches have quick set. This one didn't, and it appeared to be a little bit more worn than the other ones. I finally got around to emailing Doxa the serial number and saying, what can you tell me about this watch? Unfortunately, they emailed me back and said due to a severe damage to their offices many years ago, they lost a lot of records from the old watches, but they can tell from the serial number that this watch dates from 1968. So have a vintage Doxa. And unfortunately, because of the fact that the hands are in the way, I'll just move them out of the way for you. You can see this is one of the Doxas that they sub-logoed. They partnered with another company, in this case, Aqualung, and they put that $300, yeah, sub 300. So not going very deep with that one, but I don't care. I'm not diving anyway. Sub 100T, 1000T, I should say. Nice, very nice, serviceable watch from their Sharkhunter line. The Divingstar, the yellow face watches. This one is also sub 1000T. You don't see too many of the yellow face from Doxa. For some reason, until recently, they weren't very popular. I picked this one up. I think I bought this one from a guy on eBay. He literally told me he bought it. He thought it was a different yellow than than it turned out to be. He wore it for a while. He hated it. His wife hated it. And he sold it based on that, so I got it at a good price. Just a solid watch. I enjoy wearing it. Definitely an attention getter. Move that. And this one is one of the Project Aware. This is actually Project Aware 2. I missed the first one. This one is a sub 1500T. This one actually has a helium valve on it, which the other ones don't have, because after a certain point, you need a pressure relief valve on these watches, or else they'll pop their crystals, which, by the way, are all slightly domed sapphire crystals on these watches. This one is a little bit heavier duty, a little bit thicker than the other ones. It is there. It may not be perceivable, but it is there. A modern interpretation of the Beads of Rice watch, because this watch is fairly much more modern than these. It has a completely different watch band to it, a completely different look. The clasp works differently. It's a double push button. The top, this one opens the watch as you saw. This one does the diver extension. So instead of having to pop it out and fold it out, you can just push these buttons and there's your diver extension. Also makes for a very nice quick adjust, or micro adjustment. So I like this one. I love the uniqueness of the color, and of course they all have the bezel with both the dive time and the bottom time calculation, which is seems to be unique to Doxa. So that is State of Collection Part 2, my Doxa collection. This was the first brand of watch that I collected seriously. I tend to focus on brands a lot with my collecting. This is the first focused brand that I started working with. So I'm going to leave it there. If you like the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Comments down there. Consider subscribing so when I make more videos you are alerted to them. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.